Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Had some storms blow through last night. Man, they were pretty significant for those of you that experienced them, and it looks like that they're headed eastward. Yeah, they were pretty loud, and as you can see, the creek's up really good. Lots of wind, lightning, lots and lots of lightning. I'm not sure if there's been any tornadoes touched down. I know that there was chance of that. And some hail in places. So if you're in the path of those storms, be ready. And of course, when I looked this morning, those storms now are all over the area of south of Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia and stuff. So I would say that whatever plumes were up in the sky because of Ohio's train derailment, a lot of that stuff's probably coming down in the rain if there was any of it left anyways. Speaking of that, there was another fire this morning in Florida, and you can see here in this video, it was a 5-acre warehouse filled with plastic. Yeah, filled with plastic. There's warnings in the area for breathing and things like that, but the fire was a big warehouse filled with nursery items, nursery for your garden. They said it was a 5-acre warehouse filled with planters and the little plastic containers that you get your garden plants in at the store, your nursery store. Yeah, that's what burned up. Now, is that significant? Again, is this just an accident? Is this being controlled chaos? Or is the news media just sensationalizing on a theme that's been happening here lately? I don't know. Don't want to really speculate because you can't really tell yet. But, I mean, at least in a regional area, I could see where that could affect gardening, nursery, people wanting to buy things for their gardens, and could see a little bit of a price increase on things just because of that. That's got to be a large amount. I haven't seen any word yet on what we're talking about total numbers, but a 5-acre warehouse filled with that kind of plastic, those containers, it's got to be a lot. So I would say we would put that in the column of it's very strange, and it's quite a big possibility that this is just all part of their little scheme, but very significant fire down there nonetheless. Wanted to talk to you about just some theories of mine. We've been talking about all this chaos, that we're at war. I believe that fully. I believe World War III has already started. It's in the build-up stage. It's going from a Cold War to a lukewarm war. And of course, for those people that live in Ukraine, it's definitely a hot war. But it's nonetheless, I fully believe that we are in a World War III scenario. It's just all the chessboard is still being set up, though, for it. And there's a strong possibility, I think, that in the next couple of months or so, 2 to 3 months, we might see some major changes, because it seems to be that there's several things taking place in kind of a close to same time frame. And what I'm talking about is, here lately in the news, they've been talking about the possibility of the U.S. defaulting on its debt. And it came out in the news yesterday that if something's not done, which it's quite possible they will do it, but if something's not done, that we'll default on our debt by about June. We're also should be fully aware, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, that the Federal Reserve has said between the months of May and June, they will be unveiling their new Fed coin, their new CBDC, digital currency. And it doesn't mean that at that time you will be immediately forced to use it, but it will certainly be available according to the Federal Reserve. And then if you listen to any of the talk of, what's going on the war front in Ukraine and the supply of that, it's like they're trying to condition the people that NATO and Ukraine has this under control, but resupplies won't be there for a few months. Just in the last few weeks, several nations in Europe, the United States, and elsewhere has committed to supplying tanks and armored vehicles and other types of munitions to Ukraine. But if you look at what they say, Well, it's going to take a few months to get there. You can't just, load up several hundred tanks and just immediately send them over there. It's going to take a little bit. There's also training that needs to happen with some of these items that are being sent over there. And the timeline on a lot of this stuff is at the end of spring, maybe first of summer when they'll get there, which is kind of in that close area of May to June. So I wonder if it's not a possibility that we will start to see things really kind of change in that time period. It's quite possible that it could happen before then, because another alternative theory is that they're pushing this. Well, it could be May, June, a few months away before things get really going, all the while that they know that Putin very well could be planning something much sooner, because yesterday he announced, or the Kremlin announced, that the news media in Russia are now ordered to broadcast Putin's speech on February 21st. And they've been talking up this February 24th, which is the one-year anniversary of their invasion, as being a pretty big, significant something. That, I'm not saying what, but a significant something. And so the reason why I'm saying all this is that it's lining up a little bit. I mean, things aren't perfect, but it's lining up that we could be seeing something happen in the next couple of months, 2 to 3 months, because we're halfway through February, and so May isn't that far away. And when you look at all the things that are happening, whether it's financial, when it comes to the debt ceiling, the default on the debt, the CBDC, the war. Several things are starting to kind of line up, and it's quite possible that in the next 3 months or so, we could be seeing some significant activity everywhere. I do think for sure that the digital money has a huge role to play in all this. Just in the last few days, the Iranian president has met with Xi Jinping in China, and then now I saw it was announced that Xi Jinping is now planning on a trip to Iran. We're seeing countries like Egypt they're making their application to join BRICS. Saudi Arabia is warming up to that idea and is considering it, while they have said that they will now start most likely taking other currency other than the US dollar. I really believe a lot, maybe not all, but a lot of this global conflict, much like global conflicts of past years, is centered around currency. But see, right now we have this big battle. The US dollar is the dominant currency around the world. You all know that. It's the global reserve currency. It's the petrodollar. It's what's used in most all, large trade is the US dollar. And a lot of countries are just kind of tired of that. They're tired of using another country's currency. It's a little cumbersome for them. They actually kind of lose a little bit of money by having to go and purchase US dollars to buy the things that they need. And there's not the respect that America once had around the world. And so the battle lines and the alliances are being drawn, and we're seeing a lot of countries start to warm up to the BRICS dollar, their currency that they are wanting to build and to create. And we've also seen over the last couple of years a big influx in gold purchases by Russia and China and a few other countries, because the word is that this BRICS dollar is going to be gold-backed somewhat. And so we're seeing a real kind of war being built over currency, over who's the dominant currency. And that's significant. If America's currency loses its dominance, it may not necessarily mean it will completely collapse, but it certainly will affect its value. Because in the end, that's really a big part of the U.S. currency's value, is how it's accepted abroad, whether it be the petrodollar or just used in trade. And if it loses that prominence, it will, I would say, drastically affect America's purchasing power. And that trickles down directly to you and I. It will affect our purchasing power. So when you go and you buy that Chinese-made junk and you're buying it because it's significantly cheaper, it may not be cheaper anymore. because it's imported in using other currency, quite possibly. This is something that we have to kind of keep focused on and keep preparations for, because there's multiple facets of this war that's being built. It's not just a conventional or a kinetic war, or even a potential nuclear or EMP war. It's also a monetary war that's going on, and it's going to affect our bottom dollar, affect our purchasing power. You know, the money that's in your wallet. It's going to affect that also. And then the war itself will affect the availability of things. So there's a lot of things going on all at once. And of course, this isn't even including the many other things, all these rumors and possibilities of some new disease being, out of Africa, or, bird flu mutating and all this kind of stuff. But I think that we should be kind of keeping an eye on the next 2 to 3 months and seeing what's going on. As things change, this whole deal with Russia in the next week or so will probably give us a good idea of how this is all going to start playing out. I've said this several times in the last few days, but I'm going to say it once more. I cannot see how Russia could look at this very strong accusations that Joe Biden and his administration directly ordered and planned the destruction of Nord Stream pipeline. I can't see how Putin, Russia, the Kremlin can see that and not have any kind of retaliation. It's quite possible this speech that Putin has planned is about that. And I guess we'll wait and see what they do, because if they do nothing, then it's going to make them look weak. If they do something, they probably figure then they will be at war with us. And so they're probably taking the time to make the plan so that they react appropriately. That's what I would do if I was in that situation. But nonetheless, they're most likely going to be retaliating in some form or fashion, whether it's cybersecurity, a major cybersecurity attack, or something else. We live in some perilous times, folks. It's something we have to do. We have to accept it, embrace the suck. And over the next 2 to 3 months, things could be rapidly changing. And I strongly encourage you to be actively preparing. I mentioned yesterday in my video that NORAD had announced some more training, and after that video I saw 3 more exercises were announced by NORAD, and which shows that they're planning, they're getting their readiness level up. They know something is afoot. They probably, well, not probably, they definitely know more than you and I do. And so they're showing that they're getting their readiness level up. They're doing multiple exercises, and we will most likely continue to see more. That's what nations do when they are pretty confident that war is ahead of them. They start readying their troops. And so in the coming days and weeks, we'll probably see more of that, because there is this buildup, and it's almost to the point of no return. In fact, that's what Russia said yesterday, that the possibility of peace and working this out is past the point of no return. And they said that working things out with America, it's not really even on the table at this point. So that's what we have to look forward to. We have to continue to prepare. Get ready, folks, because and don't let the fact that it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 months wear you down. A lot of people, they're on edge. Their nails are dug into the chair, and they're ready for it to happen right now or at the latest tomorrow morning. It could take weeks. These things don't always just happen overnight. So we need to get ourselves prepared, stock up, be ready. As we're seeing with all these chemical and other types of fires, just do your best to stock up, because we don't know at what point something is taken out that really has a hard effect on things that you're trying to get to stock up on. So get your gardens going, or at least the seeds planted, and get those growing. And just general preparedness, everything that you can think of, that you're capable of, that you have the money to be prepared for, do it. Work on your skills, work on your training, and really hone out your preparedness plan of what your plan is when things really start to collapse. Between digital money, supply chain problems, and then just the general possibility of World War III. It's a lot to take in, folks. I understand it's a lot to prepare for, but it's what we have to do. Because right now it's the time to get your houses in order. It's the time to prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.